140 years before Freud, an aeronautical engineer 190 years before the Wright brothers. He was a mathematician, a geologist, a metallurgist, a mineralogist, a crystallographer, an anatomist, a botanist, a chemist, a physicist, a cosmologist, an astronomist. He discovered astronomy things way before anybody else did. He was an author, published like 14,000 pages, 28,000 pages in manuscripts. He was an inventor, a legislator, a mining engineer, an economist, an editor, a poet, and even a musician. He did the first rational design for flight. He had a spiritual awakening. Wasn't until like his mid 50s, and they termed it as, how was it, Pete? He lived like a 29-year near-death experience.
Yeah.
But he was alive, you know. He wrote books you can read now. You go to that site that you had, Pete, to show the locations. That they should be on that site. That you can get the books. They're free. You can download them.
Yeah, they're on the Swedenborg Foundation.
You know what my problem always is? All these Renaissance men, whenever you list off these big lists, it seems like, how good could they have been at any of these one tasks?
They said this guy was amazing at all of them. He was, he wasn't good at, somewhat good at a bunch of things. He was good at every one, like great at every one of these things. He's got these books, so you guys can look up. It's one of them is called Heaven and Hell. The second one's Divine Love and Wisdom. The third one is Divine Providence. There's True Christianity.
Well, I mean, if you look, almost everything he was really good at all fed into each other. All his works and everything, so it was just things he learned along the way out of necessity for what he was trying to learn in a overall larger view. Just trying to understand life.
The Heaven and Hell book was like his most popular book, and it describes what it's like to die. It shows,
Yeah, polymaths are crazy, like the amount of information that thing absorb and retain, and like be able to master skill sets and stuff like that. It's extremely impressive.
Reminds me of that show, The Pretender.
Was that the one with Sean Bean?
No.
No,
It was just some guy who he was raised in the lab, and he was basically able to go just walk into any kind of role and just master it.
And pretty much pick up new skill sets, everything else, and just roll with it.
But you know what? This view of the afterlife, I mean, I'm not seeing a downside here.
No, man, when I was listening to some of the stuff this afternoon, man, this guy's works, I now have a deep fascination. Like, I'm going to be absorbed with this shit for months, probably.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm actually like genuinely curious about. Hey, I want to know more. Like, very fascinating viewpoints. And I love the fact that he wasn't trying to merge science and faith, but more so kind of like reconcile. Find out somewhere in between the two, there's a truth within there, and that's kind of what he was in.
He points out like the discrepancies in the Bible and sort of explains it.
Mm-hmm.
He's very, very thorough. They say he wrote like at a feverish pitch most of his life because he just had so much information to get out.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. He was doing all this writing, but he didn't publish any of it under his real name at first.
That's strange, isn't it?
He was in his 80s when he first published something with his name on it.
That's crazy.
Pseudonyms. Well, it's easier to like write shit when, it's harder to attack an idea than it is a person. Once you put a face to something, you can destroy a message real quick or any point of view.
Although, when he was writing this stuff, it was not it was against the norm, Pete. I mean, maybe he used a different name to protect his family, you know?
Mhm.
Well, no, it was during the Enlightenment, and what he was saying wasn't crazy radical, you know.
No.
Um,
Okay.
You know, it wasn't so radical that people were like, burn the heretic, you know, like they were past
Right,
that point in history.
No,
And
but
he did reference the Bible a lot too, so everything was around the Bible actually when later life.
Joseph Buck wants to know who's God's mom and dad because nothing comes from itself. Yeah, I've always wondered that. Like, was God, you know, one of many, and then he was just left alone? But then you get into polytheism, and that's pretty much how they all thought. They, you know, everybody had to have a family. But our typical view tends to be that there is something bigger that has been there since before existence, essentially. It is existence. So who knows?
You forgot something, Pete, by the way.
It's like
I
that
ain't
episode
been
of
dead
Star
yet.
Trek where they have Trelane's parents come and get him because he's a naughty boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he a Q?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's a Q.
Or he's something like a Q,
Yeah.
like a prototype.
Yeah, I always thought that was cool, Trelane and Q.
Mm-hmm. Apparently that costume they've worn on Gilligan's Island and in the Monkeys.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? That's bizarre.
I was just reading something about that. Because I'm a nerd.
Look, everybody goes to the same wardrobe department, okay, honey?
So yeah, we all come to the room. Can't remember whatever.
So, 1744, this guy starts traveling to the Netherlands. Around this time, he was having strange dreams. He carried a travel journal with him on most of his travels, and did so on this journey. The whereabouts of the diary were long unknown, but it was discovered in the Royal Library in the 1850s and published in 1859 as Dormbroken, or Journal of Dreams. Swedenborg experienced many different dreams and visions, some greatly pleasurable, others highly disturbing. The experiences continues as he travels to London and to progress the publication of Reginium Alemani. This process, which one biographer has proposed as cathartic and comparable to the Catholic concept of purgatory, continued for 6 months. He also proposed that what Swedenborg was recording in his Journal of Dreams was a battle between the love of himself and the love of God. The last entry of the journal, from the 26th and 27th of October, 1744, Swedenborg appears to be clear as to which path to follow. He felt he should drop his current project and write a new book about the worship of God. He soon began working on a book titled The Worship and Love of God. It was never fully completed. Swedenborg still had it published in London in June 1745. In 1745, he was dining in a private room at a tavern in London. By the end of the meal, darkness fell upon his eyes and the room shifted carefully. Suddenly, he saw a person sitting in a corner of the room telling him he did not eat too much. Swedenborg, scared, hurried home. Later that night, the same man appeared in his dreams. The man told Swedenborg that he was the Lord, that he had appointed Swedenborg to reveal the spiritual meaning of the Bible, and he would guide Swedenborg in what to write. That same night, the spiritual world was open to Swedenborg.
Be on the lookout for other vessels in the area.
Yeah, I
Creepy
think
vision.
one of those,
Sit here.
yeah, one of those books talks a lot about his visions.
You have the all clear? FSC signing off.
Even the Church of Christianity goes over the visions that he had. Which I said, like I said, you get all these on PDF for free from their website. That, what is it called? Pete? The New Church?
Yeah, the new church.
Describes the afterlife as being physical. Or like being physical.
Oh, the whole whole transition from the physical to spiritual. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, I'm like, damn, I can hope that is the way it is. And
Yeah,
that
me
sounds
too,
pretty chill.
I still want to be like, if I'm in heaven, I want to be able to be like, oh, I want a grinder. I want a beer. I want a cigarette.
He says like when you die, you know you're met by your loved ones and you're greeted and you have your own house and you know.
Well, it was like
I
you
imagine that would you could have it.
the passing though. You know, you go from go into the dark and it's like this real peaceful feeling, and then it's like this feeling of like the dim light being peeled, I guess, on a, what is it, of the left eye or something was the phrase that they used.
Yeah, they said
And
that
it-
it looked like they peeled something off their eyes and they were able to start to see again, and they did it with their whole face, and then they were able to actually see again.
Yeah. Like you slowly awaken to the other side. But you're still you for a while until like you completely transition and that becomes like your
Right.
new reality, and then you start to change and manifest and become. It kind of sounds like what dreams may come. Like that whole
I have
heaven.
a feeling that what dreams may come might have been influenced by Swedenborgian ideas.
Yeah, well, it sounds a lot like it.
I'm wondering if there's probably some article from the 1990s that talks about it. Is that when that movie came out?
I think so. Look that up.
Jesus Christ, pure gold.
98.
98, so yeah.
Yeah, and that, I don't know, like, the movie was alright. I was like obsessed with the visuals in it though. For the longest, I was like, holy shit, dude, this is cool as But like that whole concept of, you know, yourself changing, it was his old mentor, you know. He started off looking like how he did in life.
Sorgan Peterson, Bravo Alpha November. Welcome to the station, Commander. Please fly safely.
Oh, let me see here. Joseph Box in the chat is saying, what's the name of that tower that was built to prevent another flood from occurring? The short part of that supposedly got up to the tower storage from the tribes throughout the world. Are you talking about the Tower of Babel?
That's what Jesse was saying.
Oh, okay.
Back to him.
Ensure you have received authorization before entering the docking bay.
Oh, I see.
Get
If
that
you don't have access
Jesse
to
said
the
the Tower of Babel.
physical facility,
the eagle on his shirt, Pete.
You know what? At least I learned something from these 3 Bibles that are sitting here.
You gotta have Bibles. You gotta have stacks of them.
Yeah, because it might be different. And you're like, what is this? Why is this different? You gotta go look up why.
I've got one in large print.
Engaging docking restraints.
Oh, I missed a super chat way back at the start of the show from Dreams Lunatic for $2. He said he and his cat Pete. Thank you, Dreams Lunatic, for $2. Much appreciated.
We all have cats.
Everybody's a cat weirdo.
Yep, we all have cats.
I have cats, but I'm not a cat weirdo.
No.
Cat adoptee.
Fucking pirate. That's all I'm
Inherited.
gonna be.
Hey, you know what though? That black cat running across the football field? Black cat cult rising.
Oh.
When did this happen? Because that would definitely screw with football players' heads.
Yeah, it happened on national TV. I think it was it New York Jets?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I think football is the
Dallas
funniest thing.
Cowboys or something.
You get these guys who are large and strong and, you know, physical.
No, they had to stop
And
the
they
game,
get
dude.
psyched out so easy.
They said it was from a feral group that lived in the stadium.
Mhm.
A feral colony cats or some shit.
So, Swedenborg reportedly displayed psychic ability. And there are
That's
4
badass.
incidents of this purported psychic ability that exist in literature. And there are several versions of each story. There's the fire anecdote. On Thursday, the 19th of July, 1759, a great and well-documented fire broke out in Stockholm, Sweden. In a high and increasing wind, it spread very fast, consuming about 300 houses and making 2,000 people homeless. When the fire broke out, Swedenborg was at dinner with friends in Gothenburg, about 400 kilometers from Stockholm. He became agitated and told the party at 6 o'clock there was a fire in Stockholm, that it consumed his neighbor's home and was threatening his own. 2 hours later, he exclaimed with relief the fire had stopped 3 doors from his home. In excitement following his report, word even reached the ears of the provincial governor, who summoned Swedenborg that same evening and asked for a detailed recounting. At the time, it took 2 to 3 days for news from Stockholm to reach Gothenburg by courier. So that is the shortest duration in which news of the fire could have reached Gothenburg. The first messenger from Stockholm with news of the fire was from the Board of Trade, who arrived Monday evening. The second messenger was a royal courier who arrived on Tuesday. Both these reports confirmed every statement to the precise hour that Swedenborg first expressed the information. The accounts are fully described in Bergquist, pages 312 and 313, and in chapter 31 of the Swedenborg epic. According to Swedenborg's biographer, Lars Bergquist, however, this event took place on Sunday, July 29th, 10 days after the fire.
And this was while he was traveling, so he couldn't even have cheated and used a homing pigeon.
He could have set it up.
Yeah, if he was in his hometown and the fire happened someplace else, then he could have used a pigeon, but not if he was on the road.
He could have had somebody do it for him, I'm saying. That's where my mind's going. This will give me credibility. I'm going to pay somebody to set a fire somewhere when I'm out
Oh
of
God.
town. And then
That's
I'm going to talk about it. And I'm going to tell everybody about it.
that would be a little extreme.
Now, it seems unlikely, but many witnesses to Swedenborg's distress during the fire and his immediate report of it to the provincial governor would have left the room for doubt in the public eye of Swedenborg's report. If Swedenborg had only received news of the fire by normal methods, there would have been no issue of psychic perception recorded for history. Instead, when the news of Swedenborg's extraordinary vision of the fire reached the capital, public curiosity about him was very much aroused.
That'll sell a book or
But he
two.
was well known, too.
Uh-huh.
People were like, oh, that Swedenborg guy, he knew about the fire.
Yeah. He's psychic.
He's a psychic. There was another time, in 1758, when Swedenborg visited Queen Louisa Ulrika of Sweden, who asked him to tell her something about her deceased brother, Prince Augustus William of Prussia. The next day, Swedenborg whispered something in her ear that turned the queen pale, and she explained that this was something only she and her brother could know about. And there's another incident that
They don't
involves...
say what it was?
No.
It actually adds more weight to the story.
Get a birthmark on her with JJ.
Why did her brother know that?
That one's being stupid.
Ding, 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 ding.
There was also a case where the woman who had lost her important document came to Swedenborg asking if a recently deceased person could tell him where it was, which he was said to have done the following night. Although not typically cited with these episodes, there was one for reasons. Swedenborg was known by the sinking of the ships that he sailed between Stockholm and London for always unlicensed celebrations. When asked about this by a friend, Swedenborg played down the matter, saying he was surprised by the experience himself, and he was certainly not able to do miracles.
Frameshift drive charging.
Swedenborg considered his theology of the revelation of the true church Christian religion that had become obfuscated through centuries of theology. However, he did not refer to his writings as theology since he considered based on actual experiences, unlike theology. Except for the title of his last work, neither did he wish to compare it to philosophy, a discipline he discarded in 1748 because he claimed it darkens the mind and blinds us. The foundation of Swedenborg's theology was laid down in the Arcana Coelestis, published in 8 Latin volumes from 1749 to 1756. In a significant portion of that work, he interprets the biblical passages of Genesis and Exodus. He reviews what he says as the inner spiritual sense of these two works of the Word of God. He later made a similar review of the inner sense of the Book of Revelation and Apocalypse revealed. Most of all, he was convinced that the Bible describes a human's transformation from a materialistic to a spiritual being, which he calls rebirth or regeneration. He begins this work by outlining how the creation myth was not an account of the creation of earth, but an account of man's rebirth or regeneration in 6 steps represented by the 6 days of creation. Everything related to mankind in the Bible could also be related to Jesus Christ, and how Christ freed himself from materialistic boundaries through the glorification of his human presence by making it divine. Swedenborg examines this idea in his exposition of Genesis and Exodus.
Yeah, because when people start taking the Bible really literally and poking holes, have you being stop being stupid. It's a story. It's supposed to be teaching you something.
Didn't he do some type of analogy, religion-wise, but using the heart, anatomy of the heart? Pete, do you ever see anything about that?
No.
I didn't look into that. But yeah, he did something with the heart, the anatomy of the heart, and he said he used it as an analogy with religion somehow, some way. Find something.
Well, he rejected the idea of the common explanation of the Trinity as a Trinity of persons, which he said was not taught in the early Christian church. There was, for instance, no mention in the apostolic writings of any Son from eternity. Instead, he explains in his theological writings how the divine Trinity exists in one person, in one God, the Lord Jesus Christ, which he said is taught in Colossians 2:9. According to the heavenly doctrine, Jesus, the Son of God, came into the world due to the spread of evil. Swedenborg spoke in virtually all his works against what he regarded as the incomprehensible Trinity of persons concept. He said that people of other religions exposed Christianity because of his doctrine of Trinity of persons. He considered a separation of the Trinity into 3 separate persons to have originated with the First Council of Nicaea and the Athanasian Creed. The heavenly doctrine rejects the concept of salvation through faith alone, sol fide, sorry. Since he considered both faith and charity necessary for salvation, not one without the other. Whereas the Reformers taught faith alone procure justification, although it must be faith which results in obedience. The purpose of faith, according to the heavenly doctrine, is to lead a person to life according to the truths of faith, which is charity, as in taught in 1 Corinthians 13:13, and in James 2:20. In other words, Swedenborg spoke sharply against the faith alone doctrine of Luther and others. He held that justification before God was not based solely upon some imbued righteousness before God, and was not achievable merely by gift of God's grace, granted without any basis in the person's actual behavior in life. Sola fide was a doctrine arrived by Martin Luther, John Calvin, Ulrich Zwingli,
I think he just zigged when he should have zagged.
yes, and others during the Protestant Reformation. And it's a core belief, especially in the the theology of Lutheran reformers Martin Luther and Philip Melanchthon. Swedenborg made no attempt to found the church. Years after his death, 15 by one estimate, for the most part in England, small reading groups formed to study his teachings. As one scholar states, the heavenly doctrine particularly appealed to various dissenting groups that sprang up in the first half of the 18th century, who were sure-fitted with revivalism and narrow-mindedness, and who found his optimism and comprehensive explanations appealing. Very important cultural figures, both writers and artists, were influenced by Swedenborg's writings, including Robert Frost, Johnny Appleseed, William Blake, Jorge Luis Borges, David Burnham, Arthur Conan Doyle, Ralph Waldo Emerson, James Flaxman, George Inez, Henry James Jr., Carl Jung, Immanuel Kant, Helen Keller, W.B. Yeats. His philosophy had a great impact on the Duke of Sodermanland, later King Carl XIII, who was also the Grand Master of Swedish Freemasonry, built its unique system of degrees and wrote its rituals. In contrast, one of the most prominent Swedish authors of Swedenborg's day, Johann Heinrich Kellgren, called Swedenborg nothing but a fool. A heresy trial was initiated in Sweden in 1768 against Swedenborg's writings and the two men who promoted them. In the 2.5 centuries since Swedenborg's death, various interpretations on his theology have been made. He has also been scrutinized in biographies and psychological studies. Swedenborg, with his claim to new dispensation, has been considered by some to suffer from mental illness. While the insanity explanation was not uncommon during Swedenborg's own time, it is mitigated by his activity in the Swedish House of Nobility, the Swedish Parliament, and the Swedish Royal Academy of Sciences. Additionally, the system of thought in his theological writing is considered by some to be remarkably coherent. Furthermore, he was characterized by his contemporaries as a kind and warm-hearted man, amiable in his meetings with the public, speaking easily and naturally of his spiritual experiences, with pleasant and interesting conversation. An English friend of Kant's who visited Swedenborg at Kant's behest, describes Swedenborg as reasonable, pleasant, and candid man and scholar. Of note here is Swedenborg's statement that he was commanded by the Lord to publish his writings, and do not believe that without this express command I would have thought of publishing things which I knew in advance would make me look ridiculous and many people would think lies.
Orbital flight engaged.
Huge list of works here. He wrote a lot. Spiritual Diaries, Apocalypse Revealed, Divine Providence, The Doctrine of Faith, The Doctrine of the Life, The Doctrines of Sacred Scripture, The Last Judgment, the aforementioned Heaven and Hell, The White Horse, Earth in the Universe. So he covers a lot of ground in his writings. Enough ground that, like I said, there's churches that sprung up based on his work.
Is there any part of any of this that's negative?
How sweet you were?
Yeah, like even his view of hell is just like, well, you chose it, leave. Be better, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I didn't see anything negative, Jesse.
Yeah, there's nothing negative.
And rose-colored glasses.
No, I did. One part I liked was when he was talking about when the angels, were surrounding him, dead. When you're crossing over, and he finally comes to it. There, he was describing this thing, that he knew they knew everything about him, all his sins, all his proclivities, everything about him, all the bad shit, and didn't care.
Nope.
Did not give two shits.
Landing gear deployed.
just like complete acceptance going, dude, you more or less, hey, you paid the toll, you died.
Yeah, right.
Let's see here. I got a super chat from the Ugly Cockling. What's up, Ugly Cockling? Good to see you. $2. Thank you, Ugly Cockling. Ugly Cockling says, random gender and random gender created he them.
Ship secured. Greetings, Commander.
Random gender and random gender created he them.
Oh man, a little piece of my soul just died right then.
Here's an idea.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Nobody steal this idea because I gotta do it to make big money.
Okay. Nobody steal this.
Don't anybody
Speaking
steal
of
this
which-
idea.
I won't remember it.
Somebody's got to write a woke Bible. Rewrite the Bible. And
Oh my god.
Oh my god. That little piece of my soul just died.
the whole
No.
Bible except it's woke.
It'll be this
I'm
thin.
hungry.
Well, you would do it as a joke.
No, see what you do is you get a modern version. Like King James is going to be really hard to do, time consuming. So what you do is you get a modern revision of it, and then you just like a PDF version of it, or some sort of version you can throw in Microsoft Word or something like that, and just select
Where you can
Every-
hold the backspace
every-
button
every-
down real good.
like every instance of he, just change it to they them.
Oh god. Maybe the Bible will be 3 times as long. I was thinking just get a King James Bible and get a magic marker and start doing it like redactions. And then just print it as
Right?
is.
Oh,
Black that out. Black that out. Yeah. No, we can't do it there.
No.
Just add WO to every man and
Looking around at all the other woke people, can we say Jews?
I have an app on my phone that I can do that with.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
that's funny.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, when I got the little moments here and there, I work on it. A few minutes.
You're gonna start redacting the Bible?
Oh yeah. You make a fucking woke Bible and just be like, hey, you little
The
shits.
woke Bible. The woke Bible.
The
The
woke
woke
Bible.
word. They call it that. The woke word.
Don't call it. Yeah.
The
Well,
woke
Yeah,
Bible
crazy
for
board on Twitter,
weirdos.
they'd be like, this guy rewrote the Bible and made it woke.
Yeah, we did it as a troll job, you dumbasses. We did to make fun of you.
Be like, what's that?
Big
Be like,
blue-haired
It's not
thing.
very inclusive of you.
I'm a cat in hell. What the hell do you think my job is?
As a white person, I'm very offended on behalf of everybody you make fun of.
Oh my god.
So
I
does
know.
Jonah get swallowed by a blue-haired land whale?
Yes. Well, that's an inside joke you have to put in there now.
Right?
You know what? These are all excellent points. Yeah, I'm taking mental notes of all of it. Because I do it not to attack faith,
Moses is binary.
but to just make a goddamn mockery out of all of it. All sides, all parties, just be like,
Mhm. It's a metaphor.
I'd like to stir the pot and walk away.
Lord,
Just pop
Rebecca.
quick.
It's Tom, so that I still have Tom. He does it better.
like,
It's a metaphor.
y'all need
Metaphor.
Swedenborg in your life.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hold on. I got a super chat here. TJ Swan says for $2. Thank you, TJ Swan. Much appreciated. TJ Swan says the Lord is good.
Yes.
Amen, brother. I agree. We don't want a woke lord, though.
Now, with this whole when you die thing, it was saying that the whole time you're surrounded by angels until you basically feel uncomfortable around them because they're better than you.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that part. That was strange. I heard something where they were talking about that. You know.
It said that they were there to make sure that while you were dying and transitioning, that the only thoughts you had were of love.
Uh-huh. and then they doted on you so much, I guess you got sick of them. Okay, now leave me alone, angels.
I'm gonna be like, angels, look, I need a quick tutorial level, then I'll just explore, okay? That's kind
One thing I can think of is that episode of Beavis and Butthead where he's going to heaven and he's complaining about the angels singing. His music sucks.
I always
I
wondered about
remember
that because
that.
Lucifer was supposed to be the head of God's choir, and then he got cast out, and then the devil's music is metal because metal is fucking great. So it's probably, you know, here's a little
devil's
fuzzy area
chord.
there.
You know what though? Like, there's still that thing. What they call him? Lord of the Earth. You know, and I'm thinking about all the things that mankind supposedly learned. It's very similar to the tale of, what was it, Proteus or whatever, the top man fire and everything else.
Prometheus.
Or Prometheus. But yeah, same thing with, you know, came down, taught mankind all about, what was that, early technology, primitive stuff, makeup, everything else. Like, basically everything that led to the modern world.
Yeah,
Good knowledge.
Nephilim.
Yeah. Here's how you build little machines and stuff to do stuff for you. Here's a wheel so you don't have to carry big heavy shit around on your back anymore. You're like, trust me, your grandkids are really gonna thank you.
Now, it was also saying that, like, the second you get there, you could even say to them, look, I want to go see heaven, I want to go meet God, and then when you get there, it's, like, so hot and brilliant from all the Christ work, basically, that it's hard to even enter. I thought that was pretty interesting.
The beatific vision. It's too much. It'll burn you or something.
Yeah, but isn't that's why God uses Gabriel as the voice of God? Or the messenger of God?
Well, God doesn't do stuff on his own like that. That's what he's got angels for. They serve.
Yeah.
I wonder, do they ever
his
get
bidding.
vacations?
They do his bidding.
They ever get tired of doing their jobs?
Now, what was the thing about that you were allowed to basically acclimate yourself by showing yourself false heavens? Do you recall that part? They said basically you could spend as much time in whatever heaven you create as you want before, you know, you're comfortable enough to leave it be and then go and see what's really there. But they were describing heaven as being like endless with like beautiful landscapes that put the most beautiful places on earth to shame, you know?
Yeah.
Sounds like someplace you want to go.
It's like all the beautiful paintings you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy landscapes, all of it.
I want to go to Dr. Seuss land for a while.
Dude, you know where I would want to go? Alex Gray World.
I want to go live in Futurama for a while. Maybe about 9 seasons.
I want a Homer Simpson straight up Candyland, like.
Yeah.
We are from the land of chocolate.
Yeah.
Star Trek, but like next gen.
That'd be fun.
That's
As
why-
long as we're on the Enterprise, because it's the one ship that
Yeah.
can never die.
Since we're to use a Homer metaphor, yes, I would eat the chili.
Yeah. Guatemalan insanity peppers.
Yes. I would talk to my spirit animal.
Find your whole soulmate, Homer.
But knowing my luck, it'd be more like the Beavis and Butthead Do America trip.
I would even take that world than what we're living in now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, we'd live
Like,
to see a world where Beavis and Butthead was a rational alternative.
I like when they were on the bus and they're like, "This old man's probably been late hundreds of times." He's like, "Damn right I have."
Say, I'm never gonna score.
Did you get your text, Pete?
Yeah, I saw it, Dean.
Okay.
So, let's see. So yeah, Swedenborg, all this was revealed to him. All of this was revealed to this guy. This guy was in communication with God.
With God himself.
Right.
But by his mentality, anyone can be if they just listen.
Yeah, but this guy had a 29-year near-death experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, now how did that work exactly? Because I didn't see anything where it said, like, oh, he almost drowned, and then this started happening. Or, like, he got kicked by a horse, and then this started happening. It just said it started happening.
Yeah, I think it just started happening, you know. Probably like he had visions, I would imagine.
That's bizarre. It's cool, though.
Well,
Makes me wonder if he had a
showed up-
brain tumor.
Right? Where was he when he first seen the, God, and then he seen him the next night in his dreams, right?
He was in a restaurant eating in a private room.
Yeah, and the dude was just standing in the corner like, hey, what's up?
He said the whole room looked
So-
weird, and then the guy was sitting in the corner, like said, "Don't eat
Yeah.
too much."
That's like a vision, you know?
That'd be a weird thing for God to say to you first off. Don't eat too much. Like, what? Am I getting fat?
But making the food so good then.
But it's angel hair pasta. Then we have some devil's food cake.
I'm gonna agree with this.
Yeah, I like to clean unless I'm making fettuccine Alfredo.
What do you use then?
Fettuccine. Just one step up in the thickness.
I like the angel.
I don't really like spaghetti. I like
Yeah, me too. I'm the exact same way. When you make it, it's denser. It's got more body.
Yeah.
You got a super chain.
On the article. Yeah, you do.
TJ Swan for $2. Thank you, TJ Swan. Much appreciated. What do you think about the writing on the wall from the Book of Daniel? We did the whole Book of Daniel on the show.
Isn't that crazy?
I know, right? We did the whole Book of Daniel, we did the whole Book of Apocalypse.
It's like the other day somebody was like, have you ever covered Lovecraft? I was like, yeah, twice.
Yeah, 2 times.
Yeah, right?
You could, there's the biography show and the mythos show.
Okay, so in the story goes in Daniel 5. There's a feast held by King Belshazzar. Belshazzar. And a hand suddenly appears and writes on the wall the following Aramaic words: numbered, weighed, and they are divided. Daniel interprets these words as pointing to the downfall of the Babylonian Empire. Here's a really cool painting. Depicts this.
I like art.
It's by Rembrandt.
Rembrandt was a good artist.
Right on the wall.
I think everybody's seeing that vision.
So TJ Swan, I think it's related to, the fall of Babylon. I'm pretty terrified of a hand appeared out of nowhere and started writing on the wall.
Yeah.
You know what? Even as freaked out as I would be, I'd be more fascinated by what was happening. Like,
Me in bed in the corner going, oh my god.
no, I'd just be sitting there pretty much in silence watching it. Like, fully, like, taking in every single moment. Like, all the environment, anything that I could commit to memory. I would just shut the hell up and I would be okay, pretty much. And, read what I have to say. Now, if it says it's gonna kill me or something, I'll be like, oh, hell no.
Right?
And you can go straight back to hell.
TWTG Content says, I gotta say, after all the freakish shit that's happened, if a hand appeared out of nowhere and started writing on the wall, I'd think it was probably Thursday.
Flashback.
Cobra Strikedown says, let me see it. So the AB 8776 says, I saw a black shadow orb. Best description I can think of one time, and it rattled me in my core. Wish I was a brave like you, Fed.
Oh, it ain't bravery.
Cobra
It's
Strikedown.
curiosity.
Same.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? You get real brave when you want to know what the fuck something is or what's going on.
If I'm gonna die, I'd rather see it coming.
And to go out with a UFO, that's a good way to go.
Right. At least I know they exist.
Cobra Strikedown points out that he saw a UFO once and it didn't do anything but mentally record every minute of it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
I've seen weird
Surprise.
light in the sky, but I've never seen anything else. I could honestly say it's.
You're probably not a sky watcher, Pete.
I
Probably
can't see
don't
the
look
sky
up at the
here
sky.
because of all the light.
Yeah, that's tough too, yeah.
Flight assist on.
Well, it just looks like a moving star. What's I see?
Flight assist
The big
on.
orange ball.
Flight assist off. Flight assist
Stars.
on.
For all I know, it could be drones now. Shitload of them, but it could be drones.
TJ Swan for $2. Thank you, TJ Swan. Much appreciated. TJ Swan says, Tina and Mecca, wow, chicka, wow. Thank you, TJ.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. There is a church that was founded on the ideas that came out from Swedenborg. It's called the New Church. You can take their sermons online. They have locations all around.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Put the link back in the chat.
To what?
New church.
No, I'm gonna screen share.
Okay. It's just called the newchurch.org anyway. Newchurch.org.
There we are, the New Church. Let's see here. You want to follow? Let's see where they're located. Now, you got New Mexico, Georgia, Maryland, Colorado. Oh, they got one in Boulder.
There you go, Mecca. You're hooked up.
I don't wanna. I'm having a crazy person out here.
You can go get a spoonful of Swedenborg.
Yeah.
And Tina, they got Boynton Beach.
That sounds so bad.
Yeah, well, I told you the closest one to me is in Tampa.
Now their world headquarters, or it looks like at least their U.S. headquarters, I don't know if their world headquarters, but it's in Bernathen, PA, which is about, I guess, a half hour outside of Philly.
Boynton Beach is almost 3 hours from me.
There's Central California. It says just to contact us to guy
He's ready to believe you.
You wanna get-
I have to go to the Tampa.
Let's see, South Carolina, North Carolina, Illinois, Ohio, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. Colorado Springs, Concord, Mass, Elizabethtown, PA, Erie, PA, Illinois, New Hampshire, Harleysville, Indianapolis, let's see, Lake Helen, Florida, Los Angeles, the new church of Los Angeles. Reverend
Yeah,
Church, that passed. There you go. New church.
Below the set. Block or something. Oh, no, what is that? Might go check it out one of these days. Soon.
How far is it?
It's at least worth a good conversation.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, everything in LA is 2 hours.
Yeah.
Minimum.
You'll probably walk in knowing more about Swedenborg than anybody at the church does.
I want to go down to the grocery store, just get some milk and eggs. 2 hours.
Damn, really?
I want to drive over the hill into the valley. 2 hours.
Damn. You need to get Instacart. Save yourself some time.
Exactly. Why you think all those apps and services? Everybody's just like, screw this, I'm not driving. And this is awesome. I have most everything that I would want. I can have delivered directly to me. I never have to drive again if I don't want to.
Even weed.
Exactly. That's the best part. Anything you want. But I'm like, yeah, then you got all the other problems that come along with the state. But yeah, that part's really awesome.
Well, I guess that would be a good business anywhere. I could deliver anything you want to your house, so you don't have to.
Really, yeah, really, you don't have to go anywhere for these because they stream the whatever you call it, sermons, masses, whatever they call it. They stream them live, so you actually don't have to leave the house
Got some soup checks.
to get your new church on.
I didn't give them, they did.
TJ Swan for $2. Thank you. Much appreciated. TJ Swan says, I meant bonded chicka. Wow, wow.
I saw that written on just certain.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a video tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh god.
I didn't enjoy the
Fun.
bond.
Oh, it's gonna be terrible. Oh god.
You know how like it's always like Honey Rider, Octopussy, and the new James Bond movie, her name's gonna be It's Never Gonna Happen.
Right.
Me too. Actually, me too. It's gonna be so woke. They're making sure the Bond girls wear their pants in this movie.
I guess they're gonna make James Bond stupid or having to save him. Actually, they
Oh, yeah.
go that route.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, until James Bond just does what he used to do and just slap her and say you're being hysterical when they have sex.
No.
No, because they want it in modern.
Should be double.
Like,
How do these people get laid? That's what I want to know.
They don't. Sex is actually
Right?
declining.
Sex is what?
Should be double
In
eight.
the younger generation. Yeah, they're not. There's a decline in people having sex in their 20s.
no sex, no kids, an entire wasted generation because they're all too fucking bitter and angry about having so much.
What was the experiment they did with the rats and they ended up having a class they called the Beautiful Ones? You guys recall this one? What was it?
Rat Utopia.
What was that about?
I love how I don't even have to Google the things that I'm looking for. I can just
Uh,
go to the search
yeah,
bar,
me and
click
Jesse.
on it, and whatever I just said is right there.
Oh, yes,
That's
I
creepy as
know.
fuck.
It's so
It is
creepy.
rather creepy. I know. And it doesn't matter what obscure thing you say either.
Alright, let's try this. Titties.
That's one of those categories.
Nope, I got teetoting pirate.
Yeah, like I said, that's one of those categories that goes
You know, it shouldn't be one of the 7 words you can't say on TV because it's such a nice word. It's inviting. It's friendly.
tits on tits.
I've got a Dash Fat Bastard says, Pastor, how did you know it? I didn't give you $2 Dash Fat Bastard. Pastor, do you need and the Ugly Cuckling for $2. Thank you, Ugly Cuckling. Ugly Cuckling says Jesus is greater than Amazon. That's. I don't think there's a lot of room for comparison between Jesus and Amazon. That's a real apples to oranges comparison.
You know what's funny? Now that I think about it, you know how like everybody goes out and you're gonna buy a Bible. You could totally get the same Bible for free. Like there's plenty of people passing out Bibles, but it's something that you go and purchase anyway. You know, so
No, because I got a large print one. I like my Bible. It's like a pretty teal color, and it's got, you know,
You have a teal Bible?
Yeah, teal color cover. It's large print. I got it from Sam's Club.
my Bibles are all old. I never had to buy one.
Well,
I got these.
yeah.
I bought two. King James
I didn't have one.
from I don't know, some bookstore. And then I got Dewey Rings on
My aunt just sent me one a couple years ago too.
This one's cool. I found it. It's got about,
That's fine. Yeah, mine's fine.
but there's an inscription that was my father gave us to my mom.
Oh, that's so nice.
This one's cool as shit. It's got all these
I like books, period.
older
Oh,
Yeah. I love, yeah.
that was super chat.
I love the bookstore.
TJ Swan for $2. Thank you, TJ Swan. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. TJ Swan says, okay, we have food prog. Let's talk real prog.
Sometimes you could add the two together because pastrami is the most central of all the salted meats.
I balled up the bun, and I did something myself with the onions, but she got home. She has a problem with it. We were the dumpster outside of the onions.
Excellent.
You know what? You should have asked. You know, you should have asked me for $8 an hour for
Frame face.
That's a deal breaker for some.
The story is all very fishy.
Philip, you don't have any used bookstores around you? Say I went to a bookstore.
Oh yeah, they've been removing bookstores left and right to go out of business. It's like people just
I know.
don't care about learning anything anymore.
There's one not far from me. It's been there forever. It's awesome. It's just a used bookstore, but God, they have anything and everything you can think of.
You know, it wasn't on X-Men the animated series, it was on one of the later ones, but some kid pulls up an image on the internet and he's making fun of Beast. He's like, I found this in like 5 seconds. He was like, oh, I have the book that photo came from. Hold on. And he goes and gets the book anyway.
right?
I'm telling
It's
you,
like,
man.
fuck you, kid.
Dude, the internet.
It's like either
The internet as it stands is still, it's the modern day library of everything that we call the species knowledge.
yes, Google does have books. Salvation Army.
Media of the Ark says old books smell like comfort. You're absolutely right. Jim like Jesus says, hey, we really like Voltron. The more you hook up, the better it gets. The Vernius Atomic.
There's like 3 bookstores near me, so yeah, they're still around. Really close, actually.
TJ Swan says Karma Sutra. People are passionate lovemaking.
Good old comes.
Found you found wow.
I've been through quite a few of those pages.
I know you
I definitely would say a lot of it's right when you're younger. It could turn into a real horror show. When
I'm proud to say I've done half of that shit accidentally.
Right? Turned into a horror show. That's funny as hell. No, I can't bend that way. Right?
You will now.
Let's try this.
Yeah,
No.
wait till you try to bend that way and something just goes
Crack, pop. Yeah.
and doesn't go back.
That's it.
You'd be like, oh my god.
That's definitely a mood killer.
What were you doing, sir, when this happened? Well, just hand him the book.
I was living
Well,
life, Kurt.
That position right there.
Well,
Number 38. Oh, we got a lot of
I
number 38s in here.
I was holding the ankle up like, yeah.
Then I tried to put my leg on my heel, and it was heel.
And she went like, yeah. And we both went,
And the ambulance brought me home.
we broke like a wishbone.
Yeah, Twister looks painful at this point
The movie or the game?
in my life.
Both.
The game. Twister.
Why would you be playing Twister?
We're talking about positions. I'm saying it looks painful at this point in my life.
What's painful at this point in my life?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Twister. That sounds like a torture device.
Dry humping game.
Yeah, Redfoot, right.
Hey, you know what? Twister is training wheels for like St. Andrew's Cross and all that sort of shit later. You know about that shit?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I should look it up sometime.
I'm not gonna go looking at it.
Don't look it up.
Well, I have to clear my internet history afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. Yes.
Okay, I got a question.
Yes.
Now, because they say that with this view of the afterlife, that it's very physical once you're acclimated. Can you have sex?
Would you want to?
Fuck yeah.
Hard to want to. You have a
No,
body.
no, 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 no. Everybody who dies, whether they're young or old, grows back towards the middle to their prime. Right? So heaven's full of attractive people. Right? You think. Everybody's in their prime. They have no physical defects. Maybe you still are hanging out with your wife. Maybe you want to bang your wife. Can you still bang your wife? That is the question I put forth to you. I say hopefully.
Well, it wouldn't really be heaven if you couldn't have fun. Alright.
Yeah, like love making. God invented it.
Cargo scoop deployed.
He's pretty hip.
Yeah, you get these new puritanical kids that don't like anything.
Yeah, right.
Can I smoke in heaven? Or is heaven a non-smoking area?
See, I would hope that it's not.
Well, is your heaven?
Retracted.
It's your heaven. So, does your heaven allow smoking?
Yeah,
Jesse's
maybe there's
There you
like
go.
a little magical thing in heaven I could just keep in my pocket that will suck up all the smoke so it doesn't hurt people.
No. It's you'll be able to smell it and smoke and everything else. The other person, like at Mecca, you say non-smoking. You could just choose literally not to smell the smoke or even see it. You just see Jesse sitting there smoking on a fucking
Carrot.
air, basically, yeah, or something like that.
It's like a vape pen with like a coming out of it.
It's all well, I imagine the other side, like the spiritual side, is all like imagination and pure creation.
Yeah, like manifesting whatever's in your mind.
Yeah, that's why I brought up what dreams may come. That's the only thing I've
What a
ever
great
seen
movie.
that kind
It
of
was a
uses that.
It was really good. Which also brings up another question. What about suicide? Because I've never heard anything in any of this material touching on suicide.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now, suicide is choosing to end your life, just like, the old Catholic belief is you kill yourself and go to hell. But in this view, if you killed yourself, you're walking away from life, just like the choice between heaven and hell is walking away from God.
Yeah, right.
But they said that it's not just walking away from God, it's things that draw you to hell are bad things that you love. So, if the person killed himself because they're depressed, because they don't have anything good in life or what they love, but these are good things, then that person who killed himself will go to heaven or hell.
Cargo scoop deployed.
Right? Me too. That's what
Not necessarily, because like at the point of death, like they'd be too caught up. Remember, like they said, the transition. There are those souls that, like, basically they can't transition over yet. They actually reject the presence of the angels or whatever that are trying to wake them up and manifest them into like that other reality. So they end up manifesting their own like negative reality and their own guilt and
Cargo
shit
scoop retracted.
until they kind of figure out, that it's up to them. Like eternity's up there, basically. You paid your price. You died.
I want to come back to Earth with superpowers.
No shit, right? Fuck that. You know what?
When I get to heaven, I'm going to be like, God, seriously, no one's asked for this yet? Like, what if that is my heaven? Go back to Earth. Superpower. Knowledge. Superpower. And super.
Okay, so we got TJ Swan for $2. TJ Swan says, Mecca is asleep. You sleep where she is BSing. I don't
Yeah,
think
TJ keeping the lights on around here tonight.
no.
No, I'm not asleep. I just don't talk a whole lot at night
This is your time to relax.
Yeah, it was like 1 a.m. and talk a little here.
Talking all day.
Yeah.
Talking all day and making videos all day.
Yeah, plus that was a pretty intense stream you guys had earlier.
Yeah.
Well,
The
the
high energy one.
Robert Meyer Burnett and
Yeah, I had some of the Ghostbusters here.
Yeah, I was listening to it at work. TJ Swan asked for $2. Can you pop the whip one time for the kid?
I could, but it's like 2 a.m. Well, 1 a.m. and Jake's up my roommate.
Cargo scoop.
I really can't, but
I got one, but it ain't as sexy when I do it.
I can't. Like that. This is about as
Yeah,
far
there
as
you
I
go.
can go.
And TJ Swan for $2 says, what the fuck? But that's not in response to you not popping the whip. That came in before. I don't know what the fuck.
Probably my back and forth question about suicide.
Oh, also, I did find information on sex in heaven. There is cosmic sex in the afterlife.
Goddamn right, I love heaven.
I would assume so, because you can sort of get it on in the spirit world if you're lucid enough.
Dude, I'm gonna be balls deep in heavenly joys. Dude, for eternity.
Only among married couples.
Now, if you have too much downtime, you get bored, no matter what. So, I'll either have you down.
I don't think there are heaven.
Jesse, you're gonna have to read his book.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read all of his books.
And the most popular one is that Heaven and Hell.
Yep.
It tells you everything. It's called Heaven and Hell. Get a Heaven and Hell audio.
Yeah, they have them all listed. If you just type in Sweet Word,
Yeah, or you can download them.
yeah, they have free PDFs of everything.
Free.
I'd rather just listen to the audio book at this point in the car.
Me too.
It's easier.
On my,
So I can start compiling a real library.
screen.
Red Monarch says, "Hey Angel, check this out. Sex."
Hey, Angel.
Is on.
Go up to an angel. Hey, I've never been with a chick with wings before.
Cargo scoop.
Real bougie rich says, "Try sex magic. That's kind of a superpower." We did.
Okay, I live in Connecticut.
Yeah,
What was that, Jess?
I said, okay, I live in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pete's all about the sex magic. He taught us all about it and how you could use it to manifest things in your life.
Oh, Pete's all about the sex magic. Makes it sound like I'm a full-time practitioner. Not a day goes by when I don't practice my sex magic. I'm always jerking off on something.
Well, it's not just jacking it; it's with your wife too. You obviously made yourself a family there. You're not all alone.
Dude, wait, that makes sense. That Louis C.K., it wasn't perversion, dude. He was like leaving little offerings and everything. He was performing sex magic for like good luck for his stage show.
Good luck rituals.
Pre-show ritual.
Yes.
Most people just like kind of do their like little positive energy thing. He has to go.
Move it out.
TJ Swan for $2. Thank you, TJ Swan. Much appreciated. TJ Swan says, "I think it says there are rewards and crowns." Oh, in the afterlife in heaven. Yeah, and I think the Bible does talk about crowns and building up your treasures in heaven.
Yeah. Yeah, you got your own house. Castle, I mean.
The castles are badass.
You got your own castle.
I want secret passages in my castle. Do they have weapons in heaven? They have to have weapons in heaven, so they have to have weaponsmiths. So there's got to be jobs. There's got to be something to do with that.
Hang out with the angels.
That'd be badass. Be like, so, let's read the Bible together, and I want you to tell me what's full of shit. Page 1. They probably would. They'd probably be like, okay. See this guy? Never happened. See this guy? He did a little more than this. See this guy? This happened, but differently. Plus, technically, wouldn't at least half of the people in the Bible be in heaven, so you get first-hand accountings from these people on their own stories?
Jack Foods asks a very important question. Yes, if ghosts can have sex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can be sexually assaulted by a ghost.
Ain't you ever seen Ghostbusters? Ray got it on with a ghost. She's pretty hot.
Succubus. Who's the other one?
Incubus, no succubus.
Sound right, my friend.
That's alright, it doesn't sound right when I hear the band either.
Listen to the song by the Electric Hellfire. Yeah, they're a really obscure band. I saw them looking
Good.
for... Yeah, they're kind of a cross between techno and metal. I saw them looking for Danzig back in...
I actually like techno music because it's very, it's almost like, classical music for tripping.
Mm-hmm. Kind of, depending on...
Vet, he's gonna say something.
Don't hold back now, kitty cat.
Right?
Don't you go interrupting no more football games, okay? Football.
There's a lot more of that shit to come. You guys are gonna love it. Let's put it this way. Last time a frog god got summoned. This time it's a fucking cat. You figure that one out.
Very Egyptian.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty funny too. But yeah, you know, those old ones are awakening, guys. Pay attention. And I don't know, something tells me there's gonna be multiple ones this time. That other one was just a primer. It's gonna be flooded with fuckers coming back all at once.
Perhaps it is the end times.
A
Oh,
lot of people say it is.
So what does Swedenborg say about the end times?
We talked about Revelations. There's just a video one I didn't listen to it.
Yeah, there's so much information on the topic.
Oh Lord, God, I know.
Yeah. 'Cause I wasn't able to research the stuff he said about Jesus, and I wasn't able to research the stuff he said about the end of times.
that's what I said. I spent, I don't know, about 3 hours this afternoon listening to stuff, and I'm like, Jesus, man, that was just like surface level, like the beginning of stuff. I'm like,
Right.
Yeah, Pete said it was Swedenborg, so I sent a gif of the Swedish chef and of Picard as a Borg with a question mark. When I started listening to it, I'm like, oh, this is pretty pleasant, actually. I'm not seeing the downside. And the other thing is about people, the other big thing is about people committing atrocities like the World War II bad guys. It's like, that I think would, you know, would be one of those people who are drawn to hell, but it's like, there's not different levels of what happens in hell that's not torture. It seems more like it's just a big area, like a plane of existence that's basically purged 24/7.
I had one of my friends, she didn't really believe in mortals to heaven and hell. She just believed that being in hell would be not being able to walk with God.
That's what my mother said.
Yeah, that's right, I remember you saying that. Just,
Another super chat here from TJ Swan. TJ Swan says, "Oh no, the one that gets spanked on my booty by Mecca."
just gotta, like, you know, reach back and put a little English on it right before.
Put a little English on it.
smack it real.
You gotta know how to do it just right. Get that nice little clap, snap, sting that goes deep into the muscle.
Leave them on without joining.
Exactly. Oh, I'm a master with this.
That practice.
Fed's a frisky kitty.
Dude, I'm jealous of Mega's threat. That shit has got pumped.
It's a good one.
They need a new one.
I heard that was just like,
I'm surprised people haven't sent you like 50 of them.
Oh, I know.
Me too.
Well, I mean, we only get 1,000 views a video. But hey, that's YouTube.
I get like varying amounts. Stupid little short video will only get like 50. So you're doing pretty damn good.
Well, yeah, but considering my sub count.
Yeah. Your sub count is like high.
Let's see. Phil Blair points out that Donahue explains the end times apocalypse idea is a misunderstanding of the Bible. Yeah, I'm also
Cargo scoop retracted.
a big fan of Bill Donahue. Bill Donahue. James Crow points out, Phil Blair. Bill Donahue is a fascinating soul. I tend to listen to a few of his videos a day. It helps really since I moderated the politics server with so many different religious doctrines. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I love the work of Bill Donahue. Love it. That's what I listen to every night before I go to bed. And usually what I listen to in the car. Yeah, he's definitely good. And he's somebody I've done videos based on his work myself, and I definitely give him more credit for the video. But, like I've tried to do videos that touch upon the stuff that he says, and I think that those are some of my favorites. Yeah, but Swedenborg's a fascinating guy. You know, there is cosmic sex in the afterlife. What does it say about the end times, though? End time predictions have been around for a long time, even predating Christianity. According to Swedenborg, Jesus wasn't predicting the end of the world, but the end of the Christian church. It's helpful to understand that Swedenborg uses the church to mean a level of consciousness that connects the earth to God. Swedenborg wrote about the human race functioning as one body, including all people on earth and people in heaven, with the church as its heart and lungs. Again, when Swedenborg says church, he's not talking about a specific religion, domination, or building. He's talking about all the people on earth who have a spiritual connection to the divine. So if that group is in trouble, the entire human race is in danger of losing its connection to higher spiritual realms. When the church on earth dies, the lower heavens also disintegrate. The reason is that heaven consists of people from the world. When there is nothing good left in the human heart, and no truth from the word, the heavens are flooded with evils that rise up. They are choked by them as the waters of the Styx. Nevertheless, the Lord hides good spirits somewhere else and preserves them until the day of last judgment, then lifts them to a new heaven. When you take this definition of the church and put it in Jesus' description of the end times in Matthew 24, what the Bible is describing in Swedenborgian terms is a theological heart attack that will affect all of humanity. To help us better understand the dynamic at work, Dr. Edward Higgins discusses how heart attacks affect the physical human body. He makes the point that a heart attack is something that builds up over time. The final event may seem sudden, but internally there's a long build-up with occasional warning signs. So the heart attack of the church can take a very long time. It may have even started already. When he looked into Jesus' end-time predictions in Matthew 24, Swedenborg sees a deeper meaning that applies not only to the people who formed the church in our time, but to individual spiritual lives as well. Dr. James Lawrence walked through some of the divisions within the Christian church that Jesus may have been referring to. It started out small, but then became more dynamic with the schism between Catholicism and Protestantism, which led them to a proliferation of smaller denominations splitting off from large ones, and new movements springing up in response to new interpretations of spirituality. When we go back to the literal text of the Bible and look at its spiritual correspondences, we see references to arguments about truth and to battles between the groups of the faithful. People within the church weren't able to see what was happening. We must be careful not to be blind to this in ourselves. In Swedenborg's experience of the spiritual world, he encountered many people who pretended to be faithful and loving on earth, but who were in fact filled with hatred for others and even for Jesus. But those persisting to the end will be saved symbolizes the salvation of people who love their neighbor. Those who persisted to the end means those who don't let themselves be astray. Those who not give way in time of trouble. No matter how bad things get, there will always be good people. And Swedenborg wrote that the human race as a whole is moving towards love and goodness. He predicted a new religion would arise as the Christian church collapses. So we've seen what's happening and what's bad about it. But what do we do to stay safe in the face of animosity and hatred? The core of this message is that in order to survive periods of conflict, we need to stay in a loving mindset. Why couldn't Jesus say that? It turns out there's a good reason. The Lord spoke this way in order to keep people from understanding his words for fear they would profane him. If they had understood his message when the church was spiritually devastated, they would have profaned it. What is profanation? Swedenborg defines it as first understanding, accepting, and living divine truth, and then rejecting it. Those who profane truth use what they've learned for their personal benefit. They can then twist true ideas to deceive others, leading good people astray. People who profane truth live constantly with a source of torment, according to the magnitudes of the profanation. Because of this, the Lord takes greatest care to prevent divine goodness and truth from being profaned. And people who cannot help profaning what is true and good, his main method is to keep them as far from possible from acknowledgments and believing them. Again, the only people who can profane something are those who once acknowledged and believed it. At this point in Jesus' prediction for the end times, he issues a series of warnings that may seem baffling. He says the end times will be especially bad for women who are pregnant or nursing, and it will be especially bad for everyone if it happens in winter or on the Sabbath. What does this mean? Jesus also warns against false prophets, a claim that has been made about many people throughout history. How do we identify who is telling the truth and who isn't? In Swedenborg's view, what matters most isn't what you claim to believe, but how you choose to act. It's what a person does consistent with what Jesus taught him to do. Following along those same lines, how can people know when the second coming is really happening? If it's not a physical transformation of the world, how will it look? The Lord's coming will not be in his literal reappearance in the world, but his presence in every individual. His coming takes place every time the gospel is preached, every time someone thinks about something. Jesus corroborates this idea in Luke 17:20-21. In plain English, no correspondence is required. Jesus says the coming of the kingdom of heaven will not be physical, but will instead be inside all of us. Maybe the diversity of religious traditions reflects the many different ways in which the second coming could happen. Dr. James Lawrence speaks to parallels between all different movements of Christianity. With all of this, we haven't gotten to some of the most prominent imagery in Jesus' depiction of the end times. Why the stars? Falling stars are a common theme in end times research. This imagery doesn't come from a poor understanding of the night sky, but instead from spiritual correspondences of the sun, moon, and stars. The sun stands for the love of our Lord. The moon stands for neighborly love. Those lights to go dark, that means they are unable to reach the world because people rejected love and charity. The description of Jesus also coming through the clouds is clear correspondence. It stands for the inner meaning of the Bible being understood through the literal meaning of the words. This is how Swedenborg understood the second coming and rebirth of the faith. Swedenborg refers to the Bible as the Word, but in his writings he makes clear that the Word also means spiritual truths that go beyond what is written. The Word of the Lord in itself is dead, for it is only a letter. But in the person reading it, it is vivified by the Lord in the measure of each one's ability to understand and perceive, with which he or she is gifted by the Lord. So it is alive in the measure of the life of a person reading it, for which reason there is countless variety. These words were written in the presence of angels. Swedenborg also comments on the rapture, as famously depicted in the Left Behind book series. The series imagines a world where the rapture comes, the faithful vanish and suddenly are taken up in heaven. And everybody else is left behind. The events of this series are based in part on words of Matthew 24:40-41, which Swedenborg explains. 2 will be in a field, and 1 will be taken, and 1 will be left. It symbolizes people in the church devoted to goodness, and people in the church devoted to evil. Those devoted to goodness will be saved, and those devoted to evil will be taken. 2 grinding in the mill, 1 will be taken, and 1 will be left. It means that people in the church who focus on truth or desire truth for good reasons will be saved, while people in the church who focus on truth or desire truth for bad reasons will be damned. It should be noted here that in Swedenborg's theology, to be damned means a state that people choose for themselves based on the things they love. It does not mean eternal punishment. But the point is, you can't really tell what a person's internal state is by looking at it. All this may seem bleak, but there is hope. Jesus is not the fire and brimstone judge that some people depict. He is love. And he wants us to be ready for the second. He left instructions in the form of a parable that immediately follows the dire predictions in Matthew 24, popularly known as the parable of the 10 young women. The story goes like this. 10 young women are getting ready to participate in the wedding celebration. 5 of them brought oil for their lamps, while the other 5 brought out lamps without enough oil, and they were forced to run out and buy more at the last minute. The 5 unprepared women ended up missing the celebration entirely, while the 5 who brought oil went on to join in. Curtis uses 2 replica oil lamps to demonstrate spiritual principles. The lamps represent our faith, and the oil is love. Without love, we can have no true faith. The moral of the story is that even when there's hatred, when times are difficult, or when we might experience doubt, we have to consciously embrace love. After the parable, you can take some time to meditate on that imagery and your own understanding. Let's see. Question. I understand there's no end to the world described in the Bible. But does Swedenborg say something like a real end?
About the not the end of our world. I don't remember seeing anything about that.
Your vote says it. Where do you go? I guess you reincarnated. Or you go to the spirit world and speak. Well, listen everybody. I have to point out now. Creepy little book. I'm proud of it. As a sponsor.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, that sponsor is my Patriots. Now here's the reality. Emergencies strike without warning. Surprise, the power cuts off. What if the stock market crashes? What if an earthquake hits? Things happen you don't expect. What's on the news? It's already too late. Now you're screwed. So you gotta act now while things are coming. Ask yourself, could you feed yourself for several weeks with the food you have at home this very minute? Probably not. And if not, it's time to build an emergency food supply. I'm using my Patriot Supply, and you should too. A 2-week food kit gets you started. This week you save $70 on these food kits if you go to my special website, preparewithpeter.com. These food kits include meals that last up to 25 years in storage, and they arrive fast with guaranteed 2-day delivery to your door. Those that know what's coming are using today to prepare. So go to preparewithpeter.com. That's preparewithpeter.com. You can find a link to that down in the description of this video. I must point out, folks, check out the description of this video. Do it right now. Click on it. Open it up. Take a look.
Yeah, I had some of those mashed potatoes today. They were really good.
Oh
Retracted.
yeah?
Cargo scoop.
Yeah, Jesse's been eating his emergency food supply.
Yeah.
Made it with some salmon. I was gonna make the rice.
As Connecticut gets hit with what, like what's your natural disaster? Like
It's windstorms actually in the fall, which we didn't really get a lot of this year. But there's been some parts where it shut down the state for like you know, most people started making omelets. Power outage areas. They didn't lose power for the day. But I did drive around the state the day after. It was fucking terrible. There was like roads, big ass trees, grass, everything. Well, it was crazy. That's not even counting snow. It was about 5-6 years back. It was when I was doing the volunteer fire department because I stayed over there that night. But it snowed. It was supposed to be a bad storm, and it snowed 3.5 feet one night.
Wow.
Yeah. So it got to the point where like you weren't leaving because all the plows were being used for emergencies. It was brutal. The next morning I had to walk up I drove up like 5 miles long because they had plowed it just to make a CO call. A CO call. That was a false alarm. Got full turnout gear with a pack. I fell in the snow once and there was nothing to like push myself back up on, so I took off my helmet and I smashed it in the snow in front of me until it got enough compacted snow where I could push myself up on my helmet.
Scary.
Yeah, one of the guys was smart, though. The lieutenant seen him first. Just to get the response and see what's going on. Basically put a meter in his pocket and started keeping it. But he was a mountain biker, so he was pretty much a beast anyway. Gary. Badass. Kind of looks like Harrison Ford. Cool people in the fire department. Tried going around.
My cousin's environment, yeah.
Yeah, this food, I've been really enjoying it because it's fun. Because it's like, you feel like you're doing something good for yourself because you're learning how to be more prepared. And, you know, you learn how to make the food that's in there. Trial and error. It's a little less fast, see how you like it. It's pretty cool, man. And I'm kind of wondering, did they give you any time frame on how long that discount's going to go on for?
No.
Oh, it's a good question. Good question, Jesse.
Yeah, because this shit I got now, it's going to last a while, but when that's dwindling down, I want to, I'm either going to get 1 or 2 more of those, I think. Because I do want food put away now that I know how to use it. Because it can't hurt to have 4 buckets of food.
No.
Somewhere, you know, store it somewhere in the house somewhere. Put in a plastic tote, stick it somewhere.
Some of them Stornos, right?
what you do is you build yourself a little pit in the backyard, you know, something, a little storage container or something like that. Bury it under the earth that way.
Just dig a hole and make some cinder blocks. You know. Yeah, but the thing is that, like, if you buy this now, it's going to be good until, like, 2044. Am I going to be good in 2044? Who knows? Golden boat. I might be able to leave this food to my kid. Plus, I think it's funny because it reminds me of Bachelor Chow from Futurama, where it's just a big bag of kibble, you just add water. It's like, this couch, just add water, now you have food. Right, it's kind of futuristic.
You gotta eat, right?
worry about being prepared. It's good stuff.
And the flavor's good. It's not like MREs.
I got a couple more super chats here from TJ Swan. Thank you, TJ Swan, for $2. TJ Swan, God says he hates religion. Yeah, God seems to be against organized religion in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yep.
That God's sitting up there like, why do they keep overcomplicating this? I keep telling them, they don't pay attention, and they just overcomplicate it again.
And another $2 from TJ Swan. TJ Swan says, where two come together and agree, the Lord is present. That is what the Bible says. That is true.
Pretty good book, that Bible.
Yeah, man, chat's been crazy tonight.
Yeah, it was fun.
We're having quite a
Tonight.
boss fight here. Mario
Yeah.
or on Luigi.
Yeah, I saw a
Just
commercial.
Mario.
for that. It was very pretty.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it.
And Nintendo's been stepping up their game in recent years, Chris. A lot, too, because I was, like, back in the little kid days, I was a Nintendo loyalist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you were a little kid back in the day, it was like what system you had. That was like what system you were hoping did better, so you got better games. You know?
Hey man, I used to fucking mow lawn to do whatever I had to do to make all that make that extra cash. Like my parents had a thing. I kept my grades up and everything. You know, they made me have halvesies on consoles and stuff. So it was like
Oh, that's nice.
I had Sega, all that and everything, but I had to bust my ass to keep my grades up. And go mow lawns, pick up dog shit or whatever else I had to do. $5 here. Gotta get out there and hustle.
What was it? Super Nintendo. My brother got 64 games for it. It was revolutionary at the time.
Oh yeah. I bought mine for something. Got it from Sam's Club.
Video games are fun. Oh, but I rented Zombieland tonight because it was a free rental. The video game, it is fucking terrible. Like,
Oh, yeah, usually movie license games are terrible.
Wait, which one?
yeah, what? It's the new Zombieland game.
Zombieland.
Oh.
It's like if this was the plane of the concrete, right? It's kind of tilted like this, but your camera is like the shooting is just like a line that like flips around while you're running, and there's no like aiming. It's just like spinning this thing around. It's terrible. It's like it's not as good as an Atari game.
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
Frameshift drive charging.
It's pathetic.
Yeah.
4, 3, 2.
Oh yeah, Nintendo 64. But remember that problem I was having to get more controllers for that damn thing because of that joystick? Play through too many hours of Bond, that joystick was done.
Man, I'll tell you a game back in the day. Thank you, Monarch, for bringing that one back. The original WrestleMania on the original Nintendo.
Oh yeah, the one with the diamond setup.
Dude,
That game froze all the time.
with doink the coin on and all that shit. Dude, like, wrecked those controllers.
Oh yeah, there's a big error there through the early game systems where they had a lot of good wrestling games. Then they changed all of them now from the Bible.
Well, see, what's happened with consoles is things have gotten more and more advanced. Like, there's certain games I much prefer
don't like a keyboard mouse. I like a controller. I feel like it's more
Landing
more
gear
like
deployed.
it's more.
That's what you're used to, Jesse. I
Right.
like it too. I like your controller better.
Like I said, there's certain things
Depends
I
on the
like the
game.
controller better for. Like if I'm playing, you know, like a Splinter Cell type game or something like that, the controller. Because you can, you got pressure sensitivity on the controls and everything. But if it's just straight, like, hey, I need a bunch of options and buttons and everything, I'm like, man, I'd rather play it on a keyboard.
You know, when I was a kid in the SNES era, my grandmother had gotten my brother and I this controller that was the arcade joystick with the 3 buttons.
Oh
That
yeah.
was pretty fucking cool. That was fun to play the wrestling game with.
Mm.
It was just like trying to out tap the other person.
Right?
You got another super chat.
Super chat.
Thank you, TJ, by the way. I mean,
Damn, dude.
very much so.
Yeah, so from TJ Swan for $2. Mecca, Pat.
Hey, if it were on my channel, I would. So it's just too late. And this is Peach show. It's not the Mecha show.
Thank you, TJ Swan. Much appreciated. Also, TJ Swan for $2. PSVR is groundbreaking. Real talk.
See, I'm still waiting a
How much is
generation or
that
two on
system
that.
though?
Well, the console's like 200, and they've got like some Black Friday sales coming up for the VR for like 200. So
Yeah, I know what I'm getting. I'm gonna get the Switch. I want the Switch. I want the fit thing. The what's it called, Mecca?
which one?
The thing you have. The little round thing.
Oh, the Wii Fit.
Yes.
Or not the Wii Fit. What the fuck's it called?
You know,
Ring
yeah, that
Fit.
thing's $80, $90, whatever.
Yeah, the Ring Fit.
Workout thing. Ring Fit.
Yeah, I was playing that before the show.
What's a ring fit?
And I want,
It's
I
the
wanna get
exercise
Zelda.
wheel one.
Yeah,
Kinda-
you put it's got
Exercise
the
wheel?
and it's got,
It's kind of like
Yeah,
a
and you
Thigh Master, like literally,
and
but
then you
it's
put
got
this thing. Yeah,
yeah,
you put a
it's got
thing around your leg, and
resistance.
you got the ring, and you work out. Mecca and me need shit like that to make us work out. And
You
it's
know,
like a game.
Back in the
I-
day, they had the
I-
Warriors
I-
game, and you had to work out your guy and do push-ups and chin-ups and shit. If they had video games that actually made you do push-ups and chin-ups, maybe gamers wouldn't be so fucking
That's
fat
what
and
this
lazy.
And in the screen, actually, you're actually playing a game.
Mhm. Yeah, and it
Right,
tells you like
Mecca?
how many sets or how many reps to do and how many. Yeah, and then because it's a game, you're like, okay, I just want to beat this boss. I just want to get over them.
Right.
I want to like get the coins. So there's a thing where you squeeze your legs together, but it's a resistance ring.
Dude, I
Yeah.
can tell you one
That's a good
thing.
idea.
Here,
One thing they're seriously blowing.
press it or you pull it, and then you can go like above your head and.
If you want to level up, you gotta do 50 push-ups.
Nice.
It's pretty sturdy. I don't feel like it's gonna break or anything.
Where's the electronics in it? In that little piece
You
down the
put
bottom?
Joy-Con in this. You put one of the Joy-Cons in this, and then they have a leg strap.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty cool. And you're like shit because it's 1 a.m, but yeah.
It was perfectly fine.
It's bedtime.
What's over here?
They're pretty
You're right.
sweet.
Too many AM here.
Man, I'll tell you one that the Xbox Connect, that was such a missed opportunity, and they're still blowing it, like the stuff they can do with that. Potentially, I'm like looking at it going, hey, you could be training people to do ballet, martial arts, all sorts of crazy shit with that system, and you're not making anything like that at all. You'd be doing DLC content. Today we're going to teach you how to do an axe kick properly.
I know Kung Fu.
Right, exactly. I'm like, there's such...
Like, here, fight simulated Chuck Norris.
Right, or hey, we're going to exercise and we're going to be able to monitor, you know, your posture and everything so that you're exercising properly.
Imagine how
Where are those
much I can
programs?
improve the golf swing.
Yeah, exactly. Like where is all this stuff?
It takes
Wait.
somebody with a insight into what's needed, like you, to make such suggestions to people who know how to render.
It's like cool.
Fabricate.
Like most of the stuff anymore, I'm like, okay, cool. Fuck you. You just made like a $200 million fucking walking simulator. I'm like, as funny as that is in the memes and everything, like, and the fact you just completely robbed the idea from, what was it, Super Mario Sunshine? I'm like, yeah, can you also, I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna start making my own damn games. Your shit sucks.
Right?
Like, there's Unity, there's Unreal Engine, all that sort of stuff, and at the amount of, dude, putting together your own home studio is just finding the time and the dedication.
And the education.
Dude, that's get on YouTube. There's fucking tons of tutorials that'll teach you anything and everything you want to know about 3D visuals, CGI, game production, any of that shit.
Everything.
You don't need to go to college to learn any of that shit anymore.
They just need to
Not
get your
really.
hands on the programs and something that could run them.
Right.
They can start 3D modeling.
Exactly. Dive in, start learning how it's done. Teach yourself.
Yeah, and it's not as hard as people think with a lot of these programs, because I've watched some of those videos you're talking about, and this kid had made a beautiful looking train like you would see in a video game, and it was like his final project or something, I guess. But he was showing you how to make like a room, and he made a room, and he was like, okay, so let's put a TV in the room. So he's like, here's a picture of a TV, so I'm gonna just do the measurement of around here, then I'm going to put that in there, then I'm going to do it in the back, I'm going to make it into a cube, then I'm going to put the screen on here, here's some knobs, I'm going to put a dimension on those. It's just like building something with little pieces.
Yeah, like a
If you
lot
could
of
play
the
a video game, you can pretty much make one. Is what I'm getting at.
a lot of the skills you'll pick up the in life is simple monkey see monkey do.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, you watch somebody else do something, you can do it. If you put your mind to it and, like...
That's how it was learning carpentry, dude. It was like, here, just watch the foreman do this, and now you go do it.
Well, I got a quick super chat here that asks Fed a question from Deranged Lunatic for $2. Thank you, Deranged Lunatic. Much appreciated. Deranged Lunatic says, Fed, can you please simplify the kiosk at McDonald's?
oh no, I want to cause World War III with those things. Like, serious, like that's gonna be the downfall of civilization, will be those fucking kiosks.
Red Lion says that Wu-Tang video game, remember that one? Wu-Tang, the fighting game?
Mm-hmm.
That game was awesome. That game was so cool. I played the shit out of it. It was a good time for video games.
Hey, you know what's funny? Usually these live streams get 2 thumbs down by probably the same 2 people. And I guess one of them must have fallen asleep tonight.
Oh. Well, we love them anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Even if you leave the dislike, thanks for coming.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's interaction.
Hey, most of the time you just laugh it off and everything. Every once in a while you just walk them around the corner into a shotgun blast and laugh even harder.
Well, we've had to have this for almost 2 hours here.
You got another super chat. And by the way, TJ, for all the super chats, you got yourself a bucket of food.
Yeah. Thank you. TJ says, what's a healthy dose of playing with a healthy weekly dose of playing with oneself?
Whatever you want. You're an animal, go for it.
Dude, I would suggest minimum once a day.
Yeah, twice a day, once in the morning, once in
No, I did like keep your prostate and all that healthy. Like it's for male health, and vitality. Keep it
You
up.
don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Don't let those T levels fall. They're a bitch to get back up if you ever can.
Yeah, that's kind of stuck. Use all your aggression. Go to shots.
Departure authorized.
I wish I could turn some. Still wish I could turn a lot of it
You can't be giving everybody the people's eyebrow.
Automated flight control
All right,
protocol
well on that.
now offline. Thank you, Commander.
That's gonna do it for tonight, everybody. I much appreciate you all tuning in night after night. Bright day after day, being here with us as we do. It is much appreciated. I want to say thank you to Deranged Lunatic, the Ugly Cockling, TJ Swan, especially TJ Swan, Dash Fat Bastard, for your generous super chats. Much appreciated. Never expected, but always appreciated. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody on my panel tonight. Thank you all for being here. I really love to have you guys here every night. I'm really glad you keep coming back. So thank you so much. And as we do here, this has been the Creepy Little Book Live. And you've been listening to High Strangeness, the #1 late night paranormal podcast on YouTube. I've been your host, Pete, and with me tonight were Tina Tomaszewski, Jesse Miller at the Crow's Nest, Mecha Random 42, and Fedorable the Horrible. Links to everyone's channel are down below in the description of this video. Please don't hesitate to check out the description of this video where you'll find links to our sponsor, My Patriot Supply, as well as my Twitter and Patreon. If you're interested in becoming a Patreon supporter for as little as $1 a month, that's all I ask for, price of a cup of coffee. If you're in a financial position to do so, please consider becoming a Patreon supporter. And a thank you to all my Patreon supporters who've been with me for so long. I really do appreciate you guys. I don't say it enough. Thank you so much. And until tomorrow night, everybody, stay creeped out.
Frameshift drive charging.
For your convenience and safety, pacification emplacements are active and tracking at this station. Mind your speed and your surroundings. Avoid Loitering is a crime punishable by death. Make sure you have authorization before entering the docking bay. Checked your bay number? Check again. Unauthorized loitering may trigger non-lethal response.
Safety charge complete. Clear for departure.
Welcome to our station.
Frameshift drive charging.
November, Federal Flight Control welcomes you. Please submit a docking request before entering the station. Landing permission granted. You are clear for approach to pad 1-5.